So you mentioned that there's been quite a lot of change and development in industry, and you're seeing new types of company invest in Malta. So could you just outline a few of those different changes and maybe different types of industry that are developing?
Now, clearly Malta is moving into what is the higher end, I think, in terms of economic activity, moving away from the traditional manufacturing low-cost center, more into the higher end, higher value-added sectors of the economy. We still believe that our economy needs to remain very diverse. So we do believe that there's still a strong place for manufacturing, but again, as I said, higher end, more knowledge-based, more research-based. We believe still in having a strong tourism sector, but again, even there, moving along the chain of quality tourism and the product we can offer them and the experience they can have in Malta. But we are also seeing a strong emergence of two sectors which I believe are also key economic drivers of the future, primarily the financial services sector, with operations there leading to fund administration, pensions, treasury operations, and similar operations, and services related to it, so call centers, processing centers, and these similar activities. And also ICT. ICT is very strong for us, and there's indeed a significant investment there. And we are seeing a lot of operations in software development, IT support, and other related media activities. We are doing also exploring activities in terms of digital gaming industry and how we can go into that industry, the online gaming services and these related sectors, which I believe are making Malta also an interesting experience, not just for the traditional manufacturing, but more for the service industry, which we are seeing significant growth in.
Okay. Well, Malta is a European Union member and has been whitelisted by the OECD for investment, but there is often this perception of a tax haven, and sort of maybe because of the offshore island nature. How do you go about changing that perception for investment?
Now, clearly, we strongly affirm that we are not a tax haven. We are a full member of the European Union. For us, that was an important decision to take. We had done away with our offshore regime, which was instituted in the late 80s and the early 90s, clearly with a vision that we wanted to be fully integrated in Europe. Our tax system has passed the test of the Code of Conduct Group for Business Taxation at a European level, which is a very thorough process where all the member states participate in to make sure that your tax system is not a predatory tax system or has impinging state aid rules. It has been found not to do so and therefore to be fully compliant. This indeed has opened and widened our opportunities because indeed our tax system is an advantageous tax system. But clearly we emphasize strongly with our operators that we want substance in Malta. We are not looking for brass plate operations. We really want to have operations of substance that therefore can also withstand the tax test that they are legitimately operating in Malta.
Many in Europe are seeing a decline in manufacturing, growth in services, and governments are exploring the growth of the knowledge economy and what they can do to assist that. How is Malta doing that? Because the economy at present is very diverse. So how do you see that developing in future?
Well, clearly, if you look at the manufacturing sector, we have had a number of initiatives, particularly with our manufacturing companies, to encourage them to move along the higher value-added chain to do more sophisticated things in Malta. Clearly, with the realities of the globalized world and the low-cost areas such as China, India, also some lower-cost jurisdictions in Europe themselves, for Malta to have any manufacturing significance, it has to move the higher value-added chain. And therefore, we are trying to encourage and incentivize companies to also do research operations in Malta. We are very good at, building the manufacturing process itself, and a lot of research goes into that, which is very much done in Malta by a number of manufacturing companies, which gives us an edge in terms of competing on an international environment. I mean, if you really had to look at our manufacturing sector, quite a number of manufacturing companies have long been established here in Malta. And in the wake of the crisis, they have decided to expand their operations in Malta rather than to retract. Now, the reason being, yes, the government supported them in the times of trouble to make the investments necessary, but the one key issue they mention is they don't want to lose their employees. They believe in the capabilities of their employees in Malta, of the high competence they have and what they manage to attain in terms of, also manufacturing progress into new products, that they want to retain them and they want to retain their base in Malta and expand. And this, I think, is positive from the operators themselves.
When finally, just if you had to summarise the one or two key points that make doing business with Malta particularly attractive, then what would you say?
Well, I think it's difficult to encompass that in one or two things. I think it's a lot of things together. I think it's the business-friendly environment Malta has, easy access also to decision makers, and therefore, when coming to take a business decision, it will be acted upon very speedily. The quality of our people, both in terms of our technical competence, our language skills, our adaptability, our flexibility, hard workers and very loyal to their companies, and so they give this added value to their companies. But then also through that, also I think we have a competitive jurisdiction in other areas such as taxation and other elements which really make Malta, a destination of choice.